Hey guys, what's up? It's Snake here, and oh hey Frank, what are you doing up there? Oh look, you got some friends. How about that? What are y'all doing today? I guess y'all must be celebrating Earth Day as well. Although this video is probably going to go up the day after, which would be Monday, but yesterday then, let's pretend, yesterday, April 22nd, was Earth Day, so happy belated Earth Day to everybody, if you're not watching this until Monday. And yes, even the Cross Media Bar on the PSN was celebrating Earth Day this past weekend. It was green. I'm sure most of y'all noticed. Maybe y'all didn't know what it was for. Even the Empire State Building was lit up green. And of course, April 22nd happens to be very close to April 20th. In fact, only 2 days away. So I'm sure a few people were kind of confused by the color green, not quite sure which holiday we were celebrating. But anyway, again, like I said, happy belated Earth Day, and hopefully everybody did their part by not using electrical equipment for 1 hour. I know I did. In fact, I went most of the day without using any electrical equipment, mainly because I was sleeping, but the important part is the fact that I was lowering my carbon footprint. So anyway, one quick complaint before we really get into the meat of the conversation. I'm sure most of you by now have heard about the greatest invention since the pizza pie. And yes, I am talking about Pizza Hut's hot dog pizza. I got really excited last week because I saw on one of those fake news channels all about the hot dog pizza, so I ran over to the Pizza Hut that's just across the street from my house, and come to find out it has only been released in the UK. So it's nowhere to be found here in America, which I think is just ridiculous, because I'm pretty sure we are the fattest country in the world. And yet they did not release the hot dog pizza here in America. They released it in Thailand and Japan first, and then now it's over in the UK. And I don't know, don't get me wrong, England's awesome, but I feel like the only other country that I would release the hot dog pizza in besides America would be Amsterdam. Or first, I should say. Eventually, I think everybody should get the hot dog pizza because it sounds like just an amazing idea. And I can't wait till they finally wise up and release it here. But I guess I just have to take solace in the fact that the Double Down is back at KFC. Which, if you haven't had it before, it's awesome. They take all the great parts about the sandwich and keep them, not just keep them, but double them. And then take all the junky, crappy stuff that nobody likes, those carbohydrates, and throws them out the window. So it's just 2 pieces of meat with cheese and bacon in between it. So definitely go check it out if you have not had the Double Down yet. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, let's start talking about Black Ops 2. So I guess the short answer is no. No, I do not think there is going to be a Black Ops 2. In fact, I am almost 100% positive. So hopefully Treyarch doesn't make me sound like an ass, but I am almost 100% positive that there will not be a Black Ops 2. In the truest sense of the word. That is to say, I do not think that they're going to take the storyline and create a completely dedicated sequel where it, well, maybe it doesn't pick up exactly where it left off, but I don't think they're going to make a storyline that picks up where the last one left off and continue with a lot of the same characters. I feel like what probably will happen is the same thing that happened before when we went from World at War into Black Ops. At first, it doesn't really seem like there's a connection, but then slowly, piece by piece, we put the storyline together and find out that there's little bits here and there. Obviously, Reznov is a big part of it, joining the 2 stories together, but there is a connection. We at least know that the 2 stories are created and take place in the same universe, which that universe just so happens to be very closely related to our zombie universe. Maybe the same universe, maybe some sort of parallel universe to the zombie universe. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen with Call of Duty 9. I think we're going to see the same thing. So maybe, I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll be called Black Ops 2, but whatever it's going to be called, I feel like it's going to take place in the same world, in the same sort of dimension as Black Ops did and as World at War. But I don't feel like we're going to be reliving some of the same ideas. And obviously I'm not really going to get into the storyline of Black Ops because I'm sure there are still some people out there who haven't played it or haven't played it all the way through. And but I feel like what's going to happen is we are either going to jump pretty far ahead in time, to the point, just like we did with World at War to Black Ops, jump far enough ahead to where most of the characters are either going to be dead or much older. Or if we stay in the same time period, what's probably going to happen is we will jump ahead a little bit and get to the kind of the heart of the Vietnam War, the main part of it, where we really get involved as a country. Because obviously we really stayed in the early 60s, and the Vietnam War went, I want to say, from like 55 to 75 or something like that. I don't know the exact dates, but it goes well after what happens in Black Ops. So if we do stay in the same time period, I feel like we'll just kind of continue the war and really get more involved in Vietnam, and less so in places like the Arctic Circle and Russia. Well, I mean, obviously communism would still be a big backdrop if we stay in that time period. So maybe we'll do some stuff in Russia. Maybe we'll go back to Cuba. Who knows? But I really do feel like if we stay in the same time period, we're going to sort of switch things around and take the whole idea from a different perspective. And part of the reason why I feel like that could possibly be the case is because I really do feel like the storylines for the Treyarch Call of Duties take a, well, I don't want to say take a backseat, but sort of takes direction from the zombie storyline. So the zombie storyline really leads the whole thing, and the campaign modes kind of fall into place afterwards. Sure, World at War was made first, and then the zombie game kind of was thrown on as an add-on, as a bonus, or like a secret level. But once zombies really blew up, you could see how they just ran with it, and they decided early on where they were going as far as the levels in Black Ops were concerned. And you almost want to think, at least the way it seems to me, is that they created the Black Ops campaign mode based on where we were going with the zombies. And I feel like that could very well happen again, or probably will happen again with the next Treyarch game. So in Call of Duty 9, I really think that if we do stay in the same time period, we're going to be seeing 4 new zombie characters. And it may very well be the 4 zombie characters that are in the Dead Ops levels. Because we see at the beginning of Dead Ops, we start taking place somewhere in Malaysia, one of the islands in Southern Asia or in the Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean somewhere. And if we're staying in the same time period, it would kind of make sense that we would go that direction. Because like they said before, like Treyarch had said, we really ended the chapter, or ended the first saga of the zombie storyline, of the bigger universe that we're sort of playing around in. The other option too is we could, just jump ahead maybe to the 1980s, or late 1970s, and start dealing with the Korean War. And of course that kind of ties into the whole idea of the new game being called Iron Wolf. Or, we could even jump ahead to the 80s and do the Iran-Contra, which actually I think would be really, really interesting to see what Treyarch could do with that idea, and where they would go with that storyline. Because there's, now we get into the whole guns trading thing, and, maybe some of you have seen the movie Lord of War, Lord of War with Nicolas Cage, which was really interesting. And I think it would be a creative idea to take a Call of Duty in that direction. Another completely different possibility would be to jump ahead again to like 1991 to 94 and work on the Persian Gulf and see what we could do over in Saudi Arabia. It would definitely be very interesting as far as the zombie storyline, because now we're dealing with the desert as opposed to any place we've been to so far. It'd be really interesting to see like what the maps would end up looking like, because maybe we'd have a lot of wide open spaces. So now we're no longer being constricted by, long hallways and, different perches and kind of weird things that are in our way like we see in a lot of the other maps. And we'd start to see more open areas like we see here in Call of the Dead, where there'd just be vast areas of sand with nothing else. So obviously it would make it a little bit easier from certain aspects of the game, but then it would also make it a lot harder, because now the zombies, again, are coming from everywhere. They're ripping up from underneath you, and they're just kind of popping up everywhere. So it'll be interesting really to see where the next storyline takes us. But again, like I said before, I really don't think it'll be a direct sequel. I don't think Black Ops 2, the name Black Ops 2, will be something we'll be seeing in November. It seems to me like Infinity Ward's really the sequel person. They do Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Treyarch really kind of is more like Bill Murray, where they hate to do sequels. They don't want to keep going, but they like the idea of creating a very large universe to play around in. So I definitely feel like whatever the next episode is going to be, it's going to be something that connects to the last two games, to Black Ops and to World at War. But I don't know. I really don't know exactly where it's going to go. And I definitely want to make a couple more videos to talk about the different ideas, more from the zombie perspective, and to really kind of figure out what may be the next storyline as far as zombies is concerned. And I'll go through in the next video, or maybe the next two videos, and talk about each of the wars: the Vietnam War, the Korean War, the Iran-Contra, the Persian Gulf, and talk about, well, if we do go there, how is that going to affect the zombie storyline? And I'll also talk a little bit about Space Ops. I don't really think that Space Ops will be the next Call of Duty. I've talked about this before, and you know, there are rumors floating around, obviously directly linked to the fact that at the end of the zombie storyline we go to the moon, and then who knows what happens next. Are we going to travel through dimensions? Are we going to travel through space and time? How is all that going to work? And that's, I don't know. I definitely would really be excited to see us travel through space, but I feel like they're saving that for something else. I feel like us traveling through space is not going to happen in a Call of Duty game, but is probably going to happen when they switch over to the standalone zombie game, which hopefully is sooner rather than later. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about too, speaking of new zombie storyline or the zombie game idea, is the fact that there's been a lot of posts lately from Treyarch asking for new developers to come and join their team who have had next-gen experience. And some people are pointing to this and saying, oh, maybe this means that the next Call of Duty will be on the new system, or maybe it'll at least be ported over to the new system. And I don't know, I really don't think this is right. I feel like what they're looking for is the standalone zombie game, or Call of Duty 11. I feel like what they're looking for people for is a game that's not coming out in November, but that's a game that's going to be coming out next year, late next year, or even early 2014. The reason why I say this is because of the time. You know, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a system this year because they haven't announced it yet. And if they do announce it this year, it's probably going to be at E3 or one of the other video game conventions. And if that's the case, I don't really feel like there's enough time between E3 and November or December to release the system. Because what's going to happen is they're going to announce the system, everybody's going to get excited, and then like people are going to start to quiet down, and then they'll announce the price, and then everybody's going to get upset about that, and then they'll kind of start to relax a little bit, and then finally the system will be released and everybody's going to buy it anyway, even though they complained about the price. But I feel like if they announce it at E3, there's not enough time for people to get upset about the price and then calm down again by the time November hits. So I think the next-gen systems, whatever they're going to be called, the PS4 or the Xbox 720 or who knows what, I don't really see them coming out until 2013, which would be just in time for the new Infinity Ward Call of Duty. But I feel like it would be too far away for them to port Call of Duty 9, whatever it's going to be called, to the new systems. So I think whatever's going to happen as far as Treyarch's concerned, they're really looking for their 2014 Call of Duty, or they're looking for their standalone zombie game for next-gen purposes. I feel like the Call of Duty 9, which we'll just call Black Ops 2 for now, for lack of a better word. I guess we could call it Iron Wolf, or we could call it Space Ops, or whatever we want to call it. Call of Duty 9, I feel like, will definitely be PS3 and Xbox 360 material, and that's it. But anyway, that's just my opinion, I guess. So until next time, guys, when we talk more about Black Ops, when we talk more about Black Ops 2 from the zombie storyline perspective, until then, peace out.